Okay, it's been a hot minute since I have given any kind of update on the trailer rental business. So I'll pick up where I left off, which is basically I had mentioned I got the second trailer. And I did that because I had started to have to turn people away. Now, May started slow, but then it hit all at once, it seemed like, and I had to turn people away. That really frustrated me. Got the second trailer, and I would say it was a good thing I did, because looking back at the dates and remembering how things were going along the way, I never actually had both trailers out at the exact same time, but I did have a number of situations where one trailer would come in and then another one would go out. And if you know anything about these trailers, they run on a marine deep cycle battery with the hydraulics. The battery works great, but you got to have it charged. And so having the second trailer, make sure that I had one ready to go, charged, that was good, because you never want someone to get out there, have a full load that they need to dump, and then it not work. You know, the battery's too low on power for it to actually work. That would be terrible. That would be off. That would be defeats the whole purpose. So that would not be good business. You always want to make sure you have them charged. My total numbers for the month of May, total gross revenue was $500. That means I had 5 one-day rentals. Not knocking it out of the park, but considering the amount of cash that I have invested in this, if you annualize that, that competes with dang near anything out there, okay? You know, my total cash outlay is right at $22,000 for 2 trailers. That's the trailers, that's the lettering that goes on the side. That's it. I mean, oh, and the hitch locks, right? So 22,000 net profit on that 500 is right at, let's just call it 225, 250, somewhere in that ballpark. That return on capital, put that up against pretty much any business right there. Yes, it's small scale. Yes, I just got it off the ground. So let's see what continues to happen. And that brings me to June. Now, June around the Houston area, if you're in the Houston area, you know we had some gully washers. Man, it rained and it rained and it rained. We had some flooding in certain areas. And I gotta tell you, I put out an ad that said, basically, here's what I'm gonna do. If your house gets flooded, I'm giving you free delivery. I will haul it off for you. All I'm asking from you is the rental and cover your landfill fee. And I don't know, maybe that's a terrible deal. It must have been. I got nothing off of that. I helped one person out. I volunteered my time and the trailer, and I covered the dump fee. This was a member of our church. They got flooded, and it was a mess. And I have personally been there, been flooded, and I know how stressful of a situation it is. I was fortunate this time around. We're in an area that does not, I can't say doesn't, you never know when floods are coming. They can happen anywhere, but our area did not flood. So I was more than happy to help them out there. My first actual true rental for June wasn't until June 13th. But it was like, and sorry for this pun, the floodgates opened up and it got busy. Total, here it is. Today is June 26th. And my total gross revenue so far is right at $2,100. My total net profit out of this right now, as we're sitting, is it right at $1,300. Now that's a big gap, and with my overhead, you would think my net profit should be higher. I'll go into some things in just a little bit that cost me some money and the lessons that I learned from it. But what you're probably also highly interested in is where'd the sales come from? Why such a drastic increase? My hunch is that a couple of changes that I made a huge difference. And one of them just fell into my lap, just dumb luck, or manna from heaven. The good Lord blessed me on this, maybe, but some high school kid in the area. Anyway, this kid, turns out he's in the marketing and sales career track at Lake Creek High School. At least that's what it kind of sounds like, because he calls me, cold calls me, and he had already done his background, his homework on me. I think this kid's going places. He said, I saw your trailer going down the road. I looked you up. I figured I'd give you a call, see if you could use some help with marketing. So I said, all right. I said, look, here's the thing. I said, let's have a short conversation, but let me go ahead and tell you, because I don't want you to waste your time if this isn't going to be a good fit for you either. So I said, I'm running this thing on a shoestring budget. It's a side gig for me right now. I'm just kind of trying to see if this could potentially turn into something big in the future. So I am on a shoestring budget right now. He said, oh, it's fine. Just let me tell you what I'm doing, and then if it makes sense, we'll keep talking. Okay, get after it, kid. So the kid gives me his pitch, which is basically, I'm going to do daily posts for you. He said he would do all of the graphic design stuff, but he told me what he's going to do, and basically it's surrounded by Facebook. That's his center of influence. That's where he wants to do most of the work, and he's going to do daily posts for me. He's going to do all the graphics. He'll put together the pictures and the videos that are going to go out. The finished product, he just asked for some raw pictures and videos from me. Wanted to know, what product I wanted to sell and try to push the most, which is the self-service stuff. And he said, all right, look, I'm going to do this for $200 a month. He kind of schedules it out, and he's doing a heck of a lot more than I would have. And I told him, I said, okay, at $200 a month, let's give this a shot. I said, I am willing to test it and give you a shot to prove yourself on this. I said, here's what I've got to see. I've got to see you cover your cost. And I said, here's where I'm at for April. Here's where I'm at for May. You get me $200 more gross on that than you were paying for yourself. I wasn't asking for 200 more net. I was asking for 200 more gross. And I will say that the kid is knocking it out of the park. The vast majority, and even, I'll be honest, even before he started doing this, the vast majority of rentals were coming from Facebook. Facebook communities, Facebook marketplace, Facebook posts. I don't think anybody was seeing my page's posts. I did do, not my individual page, I did a business page on there. But I do have from my personal page, you have to use a personal page to post on Marketplace, apparently. I've got the Marketplace post out there, but the vast majority of stuff was coming through Facebook, and it still is. It's just increased from there drastically. I mean, huge ROI there from this kid. So if you can find a kid who's wanting to do graphic design and marketing and sales, give him a shot, man. Give him a shot. I was not doing much, but I simply didn't have time. This is, like I said, a side gig for me, so I wasn't spending a ton of time on that. Just didn't have the time to spend, and it is well worth my investment. I think I'm gonna actually, if this continues, I think I'm gonna have to figure something out where hopefully this kid keeps working when he goes back to school in the fall. I may have to pay him a little bit more. I think it would be well worth it if the sales continue to increase like this. So my net right now is not including his cost. I paid him. He said, all I'm going to ask for up front is $50 up front. I'll get to work for it. You pay me the rest on the backside. Hey, that's fair enough. Most people want money up front. This kid wanted to prove himself. So I have only paid him $50. So right now my net profit is right around $1,300. A couple other places that I'm getting business from. I have gotten a little bit of business off of my Google My Business page, profile, whatever it's called. I've gotten a little bit of business off of there. I've gotten like 3 calls over the course of 3 months, 1 in May and 2 in June off. And when they call you from there, when they click the call now, it tells you call from Google Business or whatever it is. And so that's how you know. One other place that I got one rental off of is a website called neighborstrailer.com. They showed up anytime you Google, I would Google dump trailer rental near me. They were always consistently up in the ranks. So I checked them out. I put a listing on there. It's kind of like an Airbnb for trailer rentals, really. So I put it on there, and I got nothing forever. By the way, they're going to take 20%. So adjust your fee on there for their 20%. I forgot about them. And then last week I got a message from them, and I almost ignored it at first and realized, oh wait, I need to pay attention to this. It was an inquiry from someone wanting to rent. They wanted to know if they could haul this, that, and the other in there. I said, sure, yeah, that's fine. Anyway, it was convenient, but they're very picky. They will not let you put any images or information about how to contact you directly in your listing or while you're communicating them until the booking is actually secured through them. That protects them. I mean, that they're protecting their business, and I get it. So the customer, as soon as they showed up to actually rent the trailer, they realized that they could have contacted me, and I think they went to my website while they headed out and realized they could have saved themselves probably $30-40, depending on how much the insurance costs through them. I think they require renters through them to get their insurance. But anyway, that was the one other place I got business from. Vast majority from Facebook. Okay. All of those, and I don't, maybe I've had some phone calls off of it, and I should probably ask, hey, where'd you get my number? I should probably ask that, but I get a ton of messages, Facebook Messenger messages asking if it's available. So at any rate, that's where all of this stuff is coming from. Now, some expensive lessons. These tires on these trailers are not cheap. So I'm renting it to a guy who's hauling. He said he was hauling about 2 yards of gravel. That's 5,000 to 6,000 pounds, perfectly, easily within the limits of these trailers. And they are running down the road, and they have a blowout. And it was in East Montgomery County, and God only knows what they hit. There's all kinds of crap all over the road out there. East Montgomery County is a whole other world. They're running through there, heading into Liberty County, and they hit something, and it blew the tire out. I mean, it sliced it. So I'm going to make a long story short here. Customer had a blowout, and the wheel studs got sheared off. It was a major blowout in one of the tires. And when the customer called me up, he's a get pretty much anything fixed with the tools in your truck kind of fella. He has the parts department on speed dial, and he actually already had them coming out with new wheel studs. He was able to get it up and repaired. I basically said, look, I can send someone out and get it repaired for you, or it sounds like you're already kind of working that way yourself. I said, if you change it all out yourself, I will pay for the parts, and I'll give you the rental for free. I mean, and that was kind of a win-win for him. He was perfectly fine with that. Actually, I think he was already working on getting that done. I mean, this is a good old boy who can fix pretty much anything. Lesson from that, make sure your lug studs, your wheel studs, and your lug nuts are torqued down. Check those things regularly. Maybe I'm being overly cautious because of this, but I'm checking it after each trailer comes back in. I bought a $75 torque wrench, set it to 140 pounds, and it takes me 2 minutes to run around the whole thing, make sure everything's tight every time before it goes out. That's 2 minutes of work, a little bit of sweat, and a little bit of road grime on your hands to make sure that you don't have a $500 mistake. The guy got it all repaired enough to get back to me. I took it to my guy. He tightened some things up. A couple of the bolts were cross-threaded, so a few replacement parts there. That total cost for labor and everything was right at $200. The tire itself was right at $300. So when they say these tires are expensive, they are. So the lesson there: tighten those lug nuts down. Check them regularly. Make sure that they're tight. That keeps that wheel off of the actual studs, and it applies the pressure evenly. And if you have a blowout, can prevent it. I think honestly, when it came back in, I did tighten more of them down. I was able to put at least a quarter of a turn on each lug nut as it was going around. Some even more. Some were fairly loose. Those things will loosen up. So check them every time, okay? That's what I'm telling you. Just check those things regularly. That cost me $500. The last thing is this. I started including, and shout out to Grateful Dad, because he gave me the idea, and I honestly don't know why I didn't include this from the get-go or think about it. It's kind of common sense after he brought it up. Now when I talk to people about insurance, so they say, well, what do you need to rent the trailer? I said, 2 things. Number 1, you got to have a credit or debit card for payment. That there's some protections there for you in that, okay? Number 2, now I won't go into all those details right now, but the second thing that we need is insurance, and we can do that one of 2 ways. Whichever way you want to handle it is fine with me. You can put your own policy on file with me, whether it's a business auto policy or a personal auto policy, doesn't matter. I just need a copy of your ID card, and we can keep that on file. That doesn't cost you anything extra. If you don't want to do that, or you don't have it, then you can get coverage off of my policy for $13 a day. About half of my rentals this month have taken the insurance, half of them have used their own. Doing it that way has really helped the process. Also, I don't, and this is the idea that came from Grateful Dad, I don't make them go do it. I could send them to a website to put in my policy and my VIN number, and they could do it themselves. I don't do that. I did that early on. It was clumsy, and it was a little bit inconvenient for the customer. So I do it for them. They are an additional, basically they're an additional insured on the policy is what it is. It goes on as an additional insured endorsement. They get full coverage on the policy, and it costs them $13. So I go and I do that for them. I have to get their information, name, address, and I pay for it, but add it to their invoice. That way they only have to make one payment. They don't have to go to a whole separate website. It's a lot smoother process. So that's the other thing that's going on. That made that easier, because I'm fairly certain that the first couple of months I lost a couple of sales because of the insurance thing. When I said, here, you can go out to this website, you can get it, or you can send it to me, and just kind of left it at that. Some people, I'm pretty sure, didn't have their own and just didn't want to hassle with going and doing it themselves. I think I lost some sales from that. So that process of doing it myself and just saying, hey, we can do it either way, and it's only $13, I think made it a lot more convenient. So clean up the insurance process, make sure that you're advertising in places that are going to get you some traction, and that for me has been Facebook groups, Facebook group posts, sharing your stuff to the Facebook groups, follow their rules, but do that daily, and find you a kid that can do it if you don't have time. Pay them a little bit, it'll be worth it. I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to keep doing my Google ads after the credit runs out. I'm just not. It's not worth it. Not getting enough off of there. Neighbor's Trailer, I've gotten one off of there. Maybe I'll have a repeat customer off of that. So that's where the leads are coming from. Wish you the best of luck. It is not all rainbows and unicorns. There are some bumps along the way, and it's not 100% passive. But if things consider this way, I mean, this is a freaking outstanding month. At $1,300 of net profit for not even a full month. My first rental was on the 13th. Here we are, 26th. I'm 13 days into it. I've got some more booked later in the week. That is an enormous ROI. I don't know of another business that has that kind of ROI. I mean, maybe they're out there, but I don't know them. So anyway, good luck. If you're in Houston, it's a terrible business. Don't do it. It sucks. You're going to be paying for parts all over the place. People are going to beat your stuff up. If you're outside of Houston, then go do it. Sorry, guys. Y'all have a good one. Take care.